Good evening and welcome to this week's Armadale Devils preview show as we look ahead to this Friday's encounter between the Armadale Stellar Devils and the Oxford Chargers. Myself, Dave Harley, joined again by Mike Hunter. We've also got interviews with Danny Phillips and Nathan Stoneman, and as usual, we'll look back to a previous race featuring one of the Chargers, Jordan Jenkins. First of all, Mike, it's just great to have the name Oxford back in the sport.
Certainly is, yes. And at two levels, it's very good indeed. The enthusiasm down there is obviously tremendously high. Hopefully they can keep that going for many years, and great to see them back. I always loved that place.
Yeah, it's always been a great track with lots of history. And of course, we'll have the Cheetahs come in later on in the season against the Monarchs. But for this week, as you say, the Chargers, who have had a slow start to the season in terms of them had one match so far. They'll have another on Wednesday night as this goes out against Berwick. But a chance for the Devils to start the season. They've had two tough matches so far against the Berwick Bullets, who are going to be one of the better teams of the season, and not the start the Devils would have liked, but they'll be desperately keen to get back on track again on Friday, Mike.
Definitely. I mean, it's a problem for all the National League riders if they're not riding in any other leagues, that they really aren't getting enough racing, but it's the way things are. There's not much we can do about it. It's good that the National League is running, and that's the only way they're going to get rides. But it'll be a tough task again, I think, as was the previous matches against Berwick. There's a bit of experience in that Oxford team and a bit of a supersonic guest as well. So it's going to be tough, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, William Lawson's possibly the only one of the Devils that's been having any racing as a result of guest appearances in the championship. But he finished last Sunday's match on a different bike, so hopefully his equipment's back and ready for Friday.
I'm interested to see how they all do. There were some signs in the first match that things were going better. George Rothery got his bike going for the away match at Berwick, so I'm expecting George to be going quite well. And the heat leaders of Phillips, Woolley and Lawson can take care of themselves, definitely.
Yeah, definitely. They're all looking good, and they'll be important on Friday. Woolley was particularly impressive in that first match. One that struggled a little bit in the home match, but did improve at Berwick was our number one for this year, Danny Phillips. And it's important that he gets his home form sorted out on Friday.
Definitely. I think he's capable of winning any race. You'll hear in a minute from the recording that he doesn't think he's a good gaiter. I personally think he is a good gaiter. And that always gives you a chance.
Yeah, and as Mike said, he spoke to Danny Phillips a little earlier today, so we'll hear from him.
Were you quite happy with how you went in your first couple of matches?
Yeah. I was happy with how I went at our first match a month ago. I thought I rode the track well and didn't really have enough speed that I wanted, so we changed a couple of things for our next meeting on Friday. I was really happy with how I went at Berwick again.
Yeah, you won two races there, didn't you?
Yeah, I had the speed. The gating was really good. It was a shame I came off in my last ride. Just came in the corner a little bit too hot. And the back wheel just gave out really. Couldn't really do anything else other than that. But yeah, I've never been much of a gaiter, but with some extra injuries we get at the season up to now, I've been getting virtually every single gate, so I'm happy with that. Which is also, which helps in winning races as well.
Yeah. Obviously, you'll still be targeting the championship, are you?
Oh yeah, definitely. I'd never stop targeting that. My aim is to be in the championship before the end of the season.
Yeah. It's a tough time for guys like you because so many riders double up. People who should be second strings and reserves in championship are getting pushed out.
Yeah,
Is that how you see it?
well, I also see it as well as the ones that are ready for, even if it's just a guest spot, they never seem to use them. Just use the ones that are already in the team instead of giving somebody else the opportunity to try and improve. Especially if you've got an injury to a rider who's out for a couple of weeks, you think at least use somebody who's not actually in a championship spot, because then you might be able to use them instead of bringing that rider back. But it's a funny old game.
Yeah. It certainly is. It's just a pity that there aren't more opportunities. I do believe that, because watching you go around, I think you would be perfectly okay in a championship position, and it would bring you on better probably.
Yeah. Well, I'll be riding virtually every week instead of every 2-3 weeks, which isn't ideal.
Yes.
When you go, especially being in Heat 1, you're up against the likes of Carl Bickley, Dan Jilks and stuff like that. They're riding week in, week out, so they're always on the top of their game. Whereas because I'm riding once a fortnight, it takes at least a heat to get back into the swing of things again. Which I'm trying to practice as much as I can. Yeah, trying to practice as much as I can so that doesn't happen.
Yeah. Okay. Do you think the Armadale team is developing okay? The team spirit good? And
yeah. Obviously, it's still virtually the same team as last year with the added addition of Josh. So it might take maybe a couple of laps just to get used to the track again. Obviously, he's only ever been there as an away rider, and it's a bit of a daunting track, to be fair. It rides quite strange. So once you get into the swing of things, normally all right, to be fair. So I'm hoping he'll be all right for this Friday. I think he will.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know if you've seen that we've got a track for training youngsters now on the centre green, and have you seen that one?
Yeah, I've seen that. That's a right step. Well, it's a good step in the right way type thing. Bring the youngsters on, then instead of having to find a rider for a couple of seasons' time, just concentrate on the one rider or the two riders, or how many riders you've got coming through, and then give them the opportunity. I think it's a really good idea, to be fair.
Yeah, we actually had a junior match on Friday in which the academy track only started last June, and we've got 4 youngsters riding in the Northern Junior League now, so that's definitely a big step forward for us.
That's shown improvement, and hopefully they stick at it. And they get the opportunity at some point.
Gary's certainly keen there to get himself going, and still hoping to get a championship spot later in the season, so that would mean he'd be putting in some good form for the Devils, so that would be something good and something we can hopefully see on Friday. Over to the other side, the Oxford Chargers. I need to keep remembering to say that. It doesn't quite roll off the tongue as much as the Oxford Cheetahs does, but it's those guys they've had one meeting this season as well. They lost at Berwick, and as I said, they're racing Berwick on Wednesday night. They'll be looking at it as an opportunity. They've seen what Berwick did at Armadale, and they'll be hoping to maybe pick up a point or two on Friday night.
Certainly, well, they've got Jordan Jenkins as their star man, and he has to be as strong as anyone in the league. He's getting good scores for Redcar last season and this, so he'll be excellent, I'm sure. Ben Hopwood and Nathan Stoneman are experienced. They've been at Armadale, and the guest, of course, Sam Hagan's riding in as an under-21 qualifier, and Ace Piper comes in for him on his 3-point average, and we know how good he was in the Berwick match.
But as you say, there's a bit of experience in that Oxford team, like so Ben. But Ben raced in the Elite League for Poole as I think it was called an elite development rider back then in 2014. Yeah. He didn't quite last the whole season with them, but they did go on to win the title. So he's certainly been around. And Jacob Cloughton, obviously, he's got a strong family influence of his dad being a pretty decent rider as well. So lots of experience in that team, and and it's difficult to tell sometimes when you've got the National League teams coming, but we're hoping they'll come and get some good racing with the ace there. I think we should see that on Friday.
It's certainly more unpredictable, probably, than the senior matches, because you just haven't seen as much of these riders. So yeah, that's why I always enjoy it. You never quite know what to expect.
Yeah, and one of those Oxford riders is Nathan Stoneman, and Mike took the opportunity to speak to him earlier today as well, and we'll hear that Oxford perspective now.
Obviously, everybody's happy to see Oxford back in Speedway, but you particularly, because I believe you live pretty close to the track. Is that right?
Yeah, I live fairly local, mate, and I've obviously, it's good to have a new track coming back in it, and then obviously I've spent quite a while down here helping regenerate the stadium, refurbing it all with a group of other guys down here, so it's all been quite good.
Excellent, and obviously the revival's gone well. Have you felt that it's really lived up to expectations?
Yeah, definitely. Like, we've obviously done 3 home meetings now and basically had 3 sellouts, so you can't really ask for more than that, can you? You know, everyone's always banged on about that. They want the Speedway back, they want the stadium back, they've got it back, and they're obviously given the support to keep it going, so that's a good thing, isn't it?
Certainly is, yeah. And you personally, I noticed you've been getting guest bookings for the Cheetahs as well as riding for the Chargers. You going well?
Yeah, it's been going okay-ish sort of thing. Like, you obviously have a couple ups, a couple downs. Like, technically I had a few years out, and I was obviously sort of hoping to get into the Cheetahs team eventually at some point. It just so happened that it come a lot sooner than what everyone was expecting, so it was a little bit of like you're playing a bit of catch up again. But yeah, now things are going all right. I'm learning a lot, obviously, off direct, like the likes of Jason Crump and Scotty and stuff. So yeah, it's good to be mixing with him, mate.
I noticed you had 2 good meetings at Berwick. You won a race for the senior team and you'd got double figures, I think, for the Chargers, so that must be a track you like, I suppose.
Yeah, but the first ever time I went there with the Chargers, like, that was literally the first time I'd ever been to Berwick, so it was one of them things like, oh crikey, you know, you got to suss out a new track again, and then yeah, it's my kind of track, if you know what I mean. You can race it and you can race it hard. So.
Yeah. Does that mean that Armadale's not your kind of track, perhaps?
Not necessarily. Like, you know, obviously it's a lot smaller, it's a lot tighter. But then I also grew up riding Plymouth, so yeah, you can look at it 2 different ways, sort of thing. Like, I haven't had the best of meetings there before, but that's obviously in the Championship, and obviously going from the National League to the Championship is a big step up, sort of thing. So hopefully I can. And I've got a lot of different stuff for myself sorted now, and bikes and whatnot. So hopefully it'll be all right for Friday.
Yeah, indeed. Then do you feel that the Chargers have a decent team? I know you've only had 1 match so far, haven't you? But got some strong riders in there for National League.
Yeah, that's it. You know, obviously, like Jordan, he's consistently in the Championship. You've obviously got myself, Ben Upward, he's got a lot of experience. I know he's had a few years out and stuff. And then obviously you've got the up-and-coming riders such as like Sam Hagan, Luke Killeen, which obviously he was unfortunate not to be able to get skidding at Berwick because of his passport issues and stuff. But yeah, so it seems all a good bunch of guys, and as long as we can all click and all work together, I think we'll do a fairly good job by the end of the year.
Yeah, and you personally are still aiming to be regularly in the Championship?
Yeah, that's obviously my intention, mate. You know, I don't just want to sit about in the National League. Like, things seemed to start going right for me, like 2019 and stuff. I started riding for Somerset whilst riding for Plymouth. Obviously 2020 was COVID, 2021, Somerset like folded as a club, which was obviously a big shame, and that's who I was meant to be riding for that year. So obviously, like I say, I've had a couple of years out and I'm sort of trying to catch back up again now, but obviously when I was there in 2019 I realised like my machinery weren't quite good enough for that league to be able to keep up, so I obviously invested a lot of money and stuff into it with all my sponsors and that, and got good machinery now. I just need more track time to get yourself dialed back in on a bike, if you know what I mean. So fingers crossed with those 2 guest bookings and stuff I've had. I haven't scored in every meeting, but I've showed I'm there or thereabouts, if you know what I mean. It's only going to take a couple little bits, and then hopefully I'll have a full-time championship spot.
Yeah, I know you had a bad injury in 2017 just after you'd got into the Sheffield team.
Yeah,
so,
that's the thing.
I hope you get better luck
Things
this
just
time.
didn't always seem to work out for me at the time, if you know what I mean. If things go well and then you get an injury or something, and it obviously puts you back. But yeah, now fingers crossed we'll be all right going forward, and then just keep progressing, mate.
Great stuff. Okay, we'll look forward to seeing you on Friday. Last question. I noticed on your Facebook page you've got a huge fish in the photograph.
Yeah, I do
one?
quite a lot of fishing, mate. Yeah. I've gone sort of from carp fishing now as such to match fishing, because I've done that when we started COVID, to be fair, because obviously we weren't racing and stuff, and I just missed that competitive edge in my life, so I started match fishing, and yeah, I seem to be doing all right at that, but it's a good social side of it at the same time.
Nathan there will race at number 5 for Oxford on a Friday night, but another one. It sounds like he's been working hard over the winter trying to get that Oxford track ready and the stadium ready for the season. So a lot of good work gone in there, and you can buy your tickets in advance now. A little bit different this week. We've been the Devils. It's armadaleDevils.co.uk, and you can see the ticket option in there. I'm sure you can buy it from the Monarch site as well, but Armadale Devils for your pre-admission tickets, get them in advance. And as per all the Monarchs matches, every Speedway meeting at Armadale these days is streamed live on the internet, and you will be able to see that, buy that now as well. That is from the Monarchs website, the EMTV links, like you must have found this show tonight, hopefully. On that edinburghmonarchs.co.uk, you'll also find the EMTV link, which will allow you to click through and stream Friday's match. And hoping we'll get some good racing, Mike.
It'll be interesting to see if there's any Oxford fans up as well. Enthusiasm's high down there, so we might find that some of the supporters follow the National League team as well. I hope so. Yeah, I mean, they've got a little bit of restriction on their tickets, but they've sold out both the Cheetahs meetings so far. We'll find out on Wednesday if the appeal of the Chargers is as good. Hopefully it is, and as you say, hopefully they'll be at Armadale on Friday, but if not, get yourself on the stream if there are any Oxford fans are watching. An example of the type of racing we see at Armadale was Oxford number 1 last year. He came with the Mildenhall Fen Tigers, and when they won the league title on what turned out to be the Devils' last match of the season. A big win for Mildenhall that night, but earlier in the evening in Heat 5, Jordan was up against the Devils' Tom Woolley in what turned out to be a fantastic race. And we'll take a look at that now. So now we know from the inside it's Hagan, Lawson, Jenkins and Freeman. Fancy not recognising Archie, what a shame.
So George Roderick must be having a little bike problem still, trying to give him some extra time.
Yeah. Tom Woolley again. He really is doing well from the gate, and he's gone to the front, leading Jordan Jenkins. Jenkins, a powerful burst inside there.
It's a nice move by
Woolley
Jenkins
coming
there.
back. Woolley lifts, but he goes ahead again, and here comes Jenkins through on the inside.
What a great
What a
tussle
tussle.
there.
And Woolley again. My goodness, this is amazing.
Oh, we've got one going on at the back as well.
Yes, Archie's passed Sam Hagan at the back. What a race. Who's going to come ahead here into this turn? It's Jordan Jenkins. Once again, Woolley tries to turn it tight. He's going for a wider line this time. I think Jenkins might have got ahead now significantly. But that was some race for the first 2.5 laps or so. Archie Freeman's got the third. One of the best races we've seen here at any level.
Race. 2 separate races going on as well in the same heat.
So that was a a great race there with guys passing each other and getting back past again. Nice cutbacks, making exactly what we're looking for on a Friday night.
It's very good, and it just showed what Tom Woolley's actually capable of. He's really good round Armadale, and he's a clever rider.
Yeah, definitely. Lots of exciting racing at Armadale, and there'll be more this Friday as the Devils take on the Chargers. You can get your tickets from armadeledevils.co.uk right now, or buy the stream from edinburghmonarchs.co.uk ahead of that big encounter on Friday night. National League Speedway back at Armadale Stadium. See you there on Friday night.